Greetings, listeners. Thank you for joining us at the LookBack Podcast. I'm Nick, and I'm sitting here with
Will
and Grizzly Man Phil.
Oh, Grizzly Man Phil. Full beard, keeping it strong. Come check the video if you're only listening.
Bear Phil?
Bear Phil.
What's that?
Bear Phil's?
Bear Phil's.
Jeez.
And then my ass. What?
That's the guy who makes knives and shit, doesn't he?
No, he was going out into the wilderness and survive on his own.
But didn't he get caught for doing a bunch of shit that wasn't maybe,
I have no idea.
I don't know. Let's look into that one. I feel like he did some sketchy shit, but we thank you for joining us here at the Round Table from the LookBack Podcast. This is episode 70. I can't believe I'm saying that. I know we've changed and the show started as one thing and grew into another and now it's become this, but it's all the same sort of stream. So I don't know. I'm happy that you guys have joined me and us and everyone on this run we've done of 70 episodes. Obviously many more to come, but just wanted to give some props to us and acknowledge that the 70 episodes keeping it going. But I think 14 for you?
Something like that. Early teens, around 13, 14, 15, something like that.
And I think like 52, 55, somewhere in that range for Phil.
58's popping into my head, but I don't know.
It was more when we really started the F1 update, which we'll be getting more of kind of going forward. But we'll talk some F1 here tonight on the show. Woo! There you go. That'll pop the levels. If you guys don't already, go hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at TheLookBackShow. Get in contact with us. Send us questions, DMs, comments, all that kind of good stuff. Any ideas or anything really about the show. If you want to communicate with us, that's the place. You can send us an email, TheLookBackShow at gmail.com.
There you go.
Almost. First time in a bit. Like I said, ideas, topics, all that other good stuff. If you want to get yourself a t-shirt, a mug, a sweater, all that kind of stuff, it's on the Teespring site, teespring.com/TheLookBack. iTunes, Spotify, PodBean, GooglePlay, and the video, like I said before, is on YouTube. Check out that. If you want to follow me or any of these fine gentlemen, I'm at Salsa, SCELSA.
I'm on Twitter at LaterelG, LaterelG.
Twitter, Honda Tech Phil. Instagram, Philly_FK7.
There you go. There's all the social media stuff. But like I said, if you want to get in contact with us or just more stuff specifically about the show, hit us up at the LookBack Show, and anything can be, resolved there. But if you want to talk to these guys too, hit them up. And don't forget, I want to let you guys know as well, the show is sponsored by Hemp Labs Canada, CBD products. Amazing stuff. Check them out on Instagram, hemp_labs_Canada, CBD oil, bath bombs, creams. They got chapstick. The bath bombs are selling really well as far as I know lately. So check out those. I think they got some CBD gummies I heard as of late too. So they're doing really well. Check them out on Instagram. And yeah, go check them out. Start feeling better today. It's good stuff. We've been using it here for a while, and it's good stuff. So check them out. But that's all the stuff, the little beginning happenings. Episode 70. What's going on, boys?
Just the usual, working, playing games,
Tough life. Jeez, that sounds, fuck.
Work, racing, and gaming.
I mean, not that mine is that much different.
Living the dream.
But, yeah, I think I did more sim racing this past weekend from when we're recording this than I did in the 4 weeks leading up to this past weekend. I was on, it's been Gran Turismo lately, which I'm sure, I should give you some time now to plug, because we have yet to do it on the round table.
That's true.
You're wearing the sweater tonight.
I am wearing the sweater.
Flash it up.
I'm trying to flash it up. I think the mic's in the way, but
let the people who are listening, which is majority of the people, let them know what I'm talking about there.
All right. Well, for those of you that don't know, or if you haven't been watching or listening for a while, I do race commentary for a sim racing league in Gran Turismo Sport. That's known as the Adrenaline Racing Community over on YouTube. We live stream all the races. We had a race this past Sunday, which was actually really good on our team versus team championship. Ark's still in the lead of the championship, so woo to
nice.
that.
Oh, you guys got different.
Yeah, I
didn't even know that.
We had a bunch of other teams join the Discord where we all communicate and stuff, and it's just Ark, our team versus a bunch of other teams, and it's actually super good. It draws a lot of viewers.
Cool. Yeah, no, me and Phil have both watched a decent amount of it on YouTube. It's all there to be streamed and watched. I think you guys stream it live too, do you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good stuff. Anybody who's into racing and especially like, esports and that sort of scene, it's entertaining as hell to watch, and you do a good job on commentary. So I don't know, maybe we'll plug some of that. We should get you guys to sponsor the show too. Maybe we'll figure some of that out. We can get some cross promotion going on.
After the F1LB, huh?
Yeah. Maybe
sponsor you guys on the show, and you sponsor. Yeah, we could talk it out.
I like that we do this on air. I'm sure I love these kind of conversations that we get to have.
My agent call your agent.
Yeah, we'll set up. My people will talk to your people. We'll do the thing. But yeah, the sim racing. There was the Daytona 500. Did anybody watch that last weekend?
No.
I didn't watch it because we had the race to do, but I did hear about the Ryan Newman.
Yeah, I hope he's doing okay. As far as we know, as of now, he's been released out of the hospital. But that was quite the accident to have. I think you told me he crossed the line in 9th place on his roof.
Yeah, on his roof. That's what they said.
It's crazy. Finished in the top 10, and he's upside down.
Yeah, he's upside down. The car flipped back over, and he got hit upside down on the driver's side door.
Wow.
That was the big impact. That when I saw that, I was like, that shocked me.
Yeah,
exactly what Dan said at work. He said that the same way that
Dale
Earnhardt passed away.
Yeah.
Same
well,
situation.
Thank God for the neck protection that they have now in NASCAR. I'm not a big NASCAR watcher, but I knew that race was this weekend, and it was, pretty significant.
I would give a shout out to the actual roll cage itself, bro.
Yeah.
That's the big saver right there.
That's true, because that's when he took the impact of being upside down and the other car driving right into him. Yeah, I mean, look, you've seen what happens in other racing series when potentially in that sort of thing happens. So yeah, all the prayers and thoughts going out to Ryan Newman, right?
Yep.
But yeah, crazy stuff. I don't know. Should we get into the topics of the week, boys?
Let's go for it.
Give her.
Well, mine kind of relates to the driving since we just we're talking about NASCAR and stuff. I figure we're all into racing here. We're all into cars, especially obviously Phil works on cars as for a living. I want to talk about autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
Whoa, that's a big word. What does that mean?
And basically self-driving vehicles.
Oh, okay.
And AI-controlled vehicles and the future of where we think this A should go and B is going and C maybe could go. And just, I don't know, first off, I just want to get kind of your guys' thoughts in general on automatic driving cars. And where we are today in 2020 and what you as a mechanic and me and you as racing fans see could be going forward. And your families and mechanics too.
That's a pretty loaded one.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's kind of in our wheelhouse. And I know we got lots to talk about it. I mean, I'm sure, I just think, for me, being somebody who loves driving so much, I don't necessarily love it, but at the same time, there's days where, you get in a car in the morning, and I would love to push a button and that car take me to work.
Like, especially here in Canada, those snowy mornings, you don't want to have to drive in the snow.
That opens up a whole different box of worms as far as the conversation goes, because of how are these cars now driving themselves differently in somewhere like California or Florida or even Nevada, wherever.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to deal with snow in compared to somewhere like here where they, is the sensors that they have, are they blocked by slush and ice?
Well, actually, now you bring up that. I was looking through Reddit earlier today on my lunch break, and I saw a little a news article that was about how they called them hackers, and technically if you look at the word hackers, they're correct. But it was like, what they did is they took a piece of tape and covered up, like, it was like the 35 zone sign, and used a piece of tape to turn the 3 into an 8, and it tricked the car into going 85.
Oh, wow. So the car looked at the sign to get the road speed?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because not all of them do that.
Not all of them do that, no.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the Hondas that you work on, that I drive, are based off of a GPS system.
Correct, off a downloaded map that's stored.
Which is what I thought, because I know when I'm driving, like, a touring Accord, let's say, and I take that to go fill it up, it pops up on the dash when I'm in a 60-kilometer zone or, miles, figure it out. I don't know the difference. And it shows you what you're supposed to be doing in that zone. So I guess that's a different system, obviously, for the cars. But
I think most of the time they use GPS stuff to know what the legal road speed is for that road. I'm pretty sure that's how Tesla does it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I didn't know what car they used. I admit I only just saw the headline, but a few comments talking about it. But if it does use the road signs, that's pretty tricky.
Yeah, that one could get fishy. I feel like you need it to be on a more of a centralized system, like a GPS that has like a single locate. You know what I mean? Like there's a hub rather than just reading signs.
It should be taking the flow of traffic at that point. I would feel if there's a lot of traffic in the area, it shouldn't be worried about the speed. It should be following the flow of traffic.
Of course.
Okay, yeah.
And I want to get more, because you've been pretty quiet on this too. I want to get more of your thoughts.
Fucking pondering
in general. But speaking on the flow of traffic thing, this is the part of me that thinks it could be a good thing, is because if there's a way that all these cars, because I mean, people are going to talk about the future cars and flying cars and stuff. I look at this to be like realistic.
Okay.
Self-driving cars to me isn't completely out of the realm like a flying car is. You know what I mean? So I just think if all these cars are able to do this and, monitor each other from forward to back and all that kind of stuff, I feel like you would reduce traffic substantially.
Oh, definitely 100%. 100%.
Like
especially if it's connected to a grid or a hub like you talked about, where it could feed signals in where like it's a bunch
there's
of
an accident. Yep.
There's congestion here, go this way.
Well,
and then everyone routes that way, and it's like it
I
evens
was
itself
thinking
out.
more like not even as much rerouting as much as it's determining speed. So your average speed of your trip is probably going to be reduced, but your time to get there may be increased because everybody's not doing this stop and go, let the guy in. It's all just happening on its own.
You mean decrease? Because you said time would increase, which would be a longer distance, longer time.
Yes, sorry. The time would decrease, but the speed, your average speed that you're driving would probably decrease because you're not doing those moments of 120, 130 kilometers.
Yeah.
You're constantly, maybe you're all on average, you're staying in the 85 to 90K, but you're never slowing down.
Yeah.
The cars are constantly just in a flow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mythbusters actually proved this. They had a circle and they had a bunch of cars, and all it took is one car to tap the brakes for about a second, and it would slow down every other car to the point that the car behind it or the third car would end up having to stop completely.
But so that's bad.
Yeah.
So because then
that's
if
all
they're going in circles, then
one person.
Well, it was a test.
No,
but that's
still.
all it takes is one person to not do it the right way. And if you have these type of cars that are regulating, monitoring, you can also have it to the point that lanes are prioritized. The car won't be in the left lane unless it's taking a further distance. It will stay either in the middle or in the right lane like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
And
now that
the
left
merging
lane is
isn't-
only the lane that you're going to be taking if you're going from Oshawa to Toronto, for example.
Okay, that's
And
a whole separate
And
thing
then-
I didn't
and
even
then
think about.
merging wouldn't be an issue. Like you meant, people getting in when they're supposed to be. The zipper effect works as intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the cars have the distance of 2 car length.
And then you
distance
also
and
don't how many times have you been on the 401? There's like a truck rollover on the side of the road, and then everyone slows down to look at the crash.
Well, that's what my whole point was in the first place, is you don't get those slowing
Yeah.
down moments for nothing, because everyone, not everybody is, not that I'm a fucking incredible, amazing driver either, but not everybody's the best driver in the world. So it's like some people don't know how to slow their car down in the right kind of way,
Yeah, it's very true.
which
Absolutely.
affects cars behind.
Yeah, people think that to slow a car down, you have to press the brakes. Not necessarily. You don't. You could let off. You could lift. You could downshift. You could do multiple
Honda
things.
Tech Phil, ladies and gentlemen.
To just slow down, right?
Well, I don't want to cut you
it
off.
just cuts the speed. Right?
I don't
That's all.
think most people, I don't want to say all, know how much your car decreases in speed just by you letting off the gas.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Also, with automatic transmissions and CVT transmissions,
Different, of course.
it will slightly keep your speed going because it's just trying to maintain the speed.
Mm-hmm.
But in a manual vehicle, gear ratios is a big factor. So even if you let off, you're going to be substantially slowing down.
Yeah. And with the gears, you can use those gears to slow the car down
Exactly,
too. Whereas,
engine braking.
yeah. But that's one thing I've always thought about, because I use that a lot, not necessarily lifting and coasting, but just more, I don't, I'll lift and coast, I guess. I don't use my brake unless I have need to.
Are you a left foot braker too, bro? No.
No. I've tried. It's not easy.
No, it's not nice.
I grew up left foot braking and karting, but when I switched to my car,
Well, yeah, you
it's
gotta-
automatic, so I
Yeah.
gotta use the left foot.
Oh,
Or right foot.
Right
Sorry,
foot, yeah.
foot.
And obviously karting, you don't really have a choice. You can't really reach your leg over and use it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Was there any more? I was just curious, more the future, where you as a mechanic think it's going to be in 20 years.
So, as you guys were speaking, I was thinking of a lot of things, and the first thing that popped in my head was actually, I forgot what movie it was, but I think maybe it'd be Tom Cruise or something.
Days of Thunder?
No. This
Sorry.
was a futuristic movie, right? And
Oblivion.
No.
That's a
No,
decent
I don't
movie.
think so.
Anyway.
Anyways,
It's actually not that
he's
good.
like, all the cars in that city were all self-driving, self-AI controlled. They were able to go up walls, sideways, upside down, on top of each other, and there was no one driving the actual car. You would just get in and go to the destination.
iRobot?
That's Will Smith.
Yeah. I was just thinking
So,
maybe you got it mixed
was-
up or something.
That's
but
what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, but it can't be Riot Robot. I think it's another
Anyway,
one.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But the way I see it, we already have lane sensing. We already have, minimal steering input. We have Teslas that can drive you all the way to your destination practically without getting into an accident on a median or whatever. Lol. But we have all this technology. It's just a matter of having to implement it throughout every manufacturer or every car to
uniform.
Standard to be uniform. Because if one car manufacturer isn't doing it, then it's going to throw off everyone else. Another thing I'm thinking of is, like you said, it's a little bit far-fetched to be a flying vehicle. And not to necessarily say that we're going to be Star Wars and we're going to have multiple lanes going in every direction, up, down, left, right, and we're have Anakin dive bombing. You know what I mean? But in my head, I would see it if we did have this potential of a hovering or a flying, floating vehicle. The lanes would be literally on top of the road lanes. Everything would be just above us, layered. Yeah. So like you have your standard lower end people, I guess you can say, like us, using gas cars with wheels on the ground, while people above us are zooming past.
I just don't see it. For me,
that's the difference, right? Like, and at that point, and now it's no lanes, no traffic, no congestion. It's just
But what if there's an accident and they land on my house?
Well, there's no road above your house.
To counteract your point, there would still be lanes or flight paths.
Exactly.
We still have that today, so it's not like they can just go wherever you want.
Yeah, it's not like, I'm in this parking lot, I'm just going to cross over these houses, because that would be an issue.
That would be illegal, just like driving over a median in the middle of a intersection.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Opposite lane.
Fair enough. That's a good. Because that's what my thought with that was always. Well, what happens when there's cars flying above and there's an accident?
Oh, absolutely. Those cars are dropping. You know what I mean? Like
it's not fucking good.
It's not great. Now that now your accident up there just caused an accident down here, and now these guys down here need a new car. But it is far-fetched, but at the same time, you never know where technology could lead and how these cars could progress. Honestly, I was actually stunned for the first time driving a newer car, a Honda, and it had full lane sensing, and I was going down the highway with my hands off the fucking steering wheel, bro.
Oh yeah, straight
and
up.
It's the trippiest feeling of life.
No gas too, right? Like
no gas, no nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sitting in
I
the
do
left
it regularly.
lane. Sitting in the left lane. I have my speed set at 120, and guess what? This douchebag just pulled in front of me. Well, that's okay. The car adjusts to his speed now.
because it's got the adaptive cruise control.
Lane sensing, blind spot indication. It goes on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And we're not trying to sell Hondas here either. We're just talking about features.
Sponsored by Honda.
Dude, it's practically standard in so many vehicles.
Yeah,
You're starting to see more lane sensing.
Hyundais, Nissans, other cars, they're going to have the same.
Just to add on to the autonomous part there, what if because the car, they still need service regardless of whether if it's autonomous or whatnot, right?
Of course. It still needs to get work done.
What if it's like, okay, I need my tires checked. Like in the car, it has a sensors like, I need to have my tires serviced or whatever, my oil changed, whatever. So you go, okay, well, I'm not doing anything Saturday. So your car drives itself to the shop, gets fixed, and then drives itself back with no inconvenience to you.
I don't
Even at work, that would be.
The problem, I think the problem there is if there is an accident or a problem, a mishap of something that isn't the norm, and there's no owner present, who's liable?
The owner.
And in that sense, then, if we're doing this idea here, wouldn't it be sense that, hey, the car senses that I got in an accident, wouldn't it automatically file insurance reports?
Probably. OnStar does that, do they not? They call 911 right away when you get into an accident.
Well, speaking on the same, yeah, they do. I was just speaking on the same, I don't know. Never mind.
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's interesting. I just want to go back to what he said about the multiple manufacturers and companies and car businesses, because that's a good point. Because unless these guys get on the same page one day in 2050 or whatever the fuck this is, then they're not. But what if you still have, Joe in his 70 Chevelle, and he wants to go on a Sunday drive?
You mean Dan in his 70 Corvette?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I didn't realize Dan had a 70. I didn't know it was a 70. But yeah, like those. Are you not? Is it now you have to go to a track to take a car out that isn't autonomously driven?
The problem with what I think your idea is if there is that one big central hub that every car company or whatever starts to do their standards to or whatever.
Maybe that's
is that there's antitrust laws. Say Chevrolet makes this system that all the cars can adhere to, but then there's an issue that Chevrolet owns that entire system. So
then the other company's got to buy the system off Chevy.
Yeah. That, and if say Chevy is like, Ford's catching up on our sales, maybe we just tweak this AI for the Ford cars a little bit.
Well, then you're getting into fishy territory.
Yeah,
and it becomes,
but that's antitrust.
You would
laws.
Almost need a third party.
And even then, that's
who
still
owns the satellites.
Yeah.
Who own, do you know what I mean?
Elon Musk.
Something like that.
The issue is even then, it's still antitrust laws, right? there would have to be some kind of competition or another company in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way you said it, when you said all manufacturers have to get together and like have it come to a conclusion, I don't really see that, but I do see like you said, a third party coming in and just saying, "Yo, we developed this. This is available to anyone and everyone that wants it.
Yeah.
Take your options."
Like I think
no one else can do this, but we can. You want a flying car that's above the laneways, you're never gonna be stuck in traffic. You have to come to us.
Or
that's
even
how I
just-
see it.
And even then, you still, still the
even
antitrust laws, right? It's having that ability to have one company that rules over everything. Like that's the issue
that
with
would be
people.
very-
That's even with the 50s. And back in the 50s, there was consideration of in the U.S. of splitting up General Motors into two companies because they had controlled 50% of the entire automobile market.
Well, that makes sense. Chevy went like huge then.
Yeah.
And Ford started to.
And then-
I just know a lot of that from watching that Ford v Ferrari movie. But
It's so you get that, right? So it's hard to do, and there's probably a way around it where there's something like a committee of people have to rule on everything, right? You would need a board of people to run this thing, not just like a company.
yeah,
say.
just thinking about it more and talking about it with you guys now, like it's making me realize how less likely I think this is, because I love the driving the car, like the adaptive cruise control. And I do it all the time. Like anytime anybody local, I drive to Peterborough from our area. It's about an hour drive on a 90-kilometer highway, and I set that fucker to 100 or 95, and I sit back and chill. Not literally to chill. I go on my phone, obviously, but
Put your legs up.
but
put
I'm
sunglasses on.
not touching the gas. I'm not touching the steering wheel, and I'm letting the car drive me where I need to go. And I think that's wicked. But that's also coming from a guy who loves the tactile, like loves the feeling input of driving. So it's give and take. I don't know, but having this conversation has made me realize that I think we're a lot farther away from all the cars being this way. I think that what we have now is probably what it's going to be like for quite a while. It's just going to get more advanced, but it's still going to be in the controls of that person. And at the end of the day, like it's still on you. It's the question that I brought up to you and Dan at work about I don't know if it was the Hyundai. But there's a car, there was a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's got the self-park, and they're all in Boston. And they all got it's a car park, and it's a self-park. And it's the whole commercial because they're doing the accents like they live in Boston. And he gets out of the car, and he's like, yeah, it's going to park itself. And he parks it, and it parks itself. And I was asking, I'm going, so if you're sitting on the sidewalk and your car bumps into the Beamer beside you because it was parking itself, who's liable? Is it you?
Or the manufacturer?
Or is the dealership paying for that because you didn't do it and the system had an error? And if you take that theory and apply that across the board to now every car driving itself around the fucking country and or globe,
manufacturers wouldn't want that.
It's a lot. So I think it's just going to stay in this, like, what's the word? Like, they're just little tools that you have, like they're little additions. Features that you can add to the cars rather than there being a standard, because again, it would have to be some sort of, third-party brand. Like I think in Formula One, does one company make all the brakes? I think they're all
maybe something like that. I think so. Yeah.
Something like that, where it's like, okay, if you guys want this in your cars, you have to buy it from us. Or like an IndyCar, where all the chassis are from Delaria, I think, something. They're all buying it from one place and they're using that to build their car. Just to kind of, I don't know, use an example, I guess, but. I don't know. Interesting. I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I'm sure we'll talk more in the future, unless there's more you want to talk about.
Well,
by all means.
You did say we are far away, and
I think so.
It is
after
true.
having this conversation.
You got to think of like you said, we are far because we don't have a propulsion system to levitate anything yet. If we had that, we probably wouldn't be still on this planet. You got to think about that.
What do you mean? Get more specific, like.
Because it's not like it's a hovercraft where you can just have air pushing out of the bottom of
No, but they can land spaceships like that now. Like they land the fucking SpaceX. Elon Musk comes in softly and lands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But what is he using?
I'm not sure. Probably, I have no idea. Some kind of rockets. I have no idea.
High crazy fuel though.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying
you wouldn't be able to use fuel. You would have to use some kind of ions or protons or whatever.
Something that doesn't have waste.
Exactly. No waste. Very minimal energy.
That isn't going to give the people below you cancer.
Yeah, exactly. And
that too.
And at that point too, it has to sustain throughout hours and hours of use and time. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. If we had potential to be already driving flying quote unquote cars, we would be exploring other planets. We would be exploring Mars more. We would be exploring the moon more. That's the way I see it. Because then we would have that technology to say, we can propel these cars without using burning fuels? Like, what? Like, okay, well, let's send a fucking rocket.
And I hear you, and I don't mean to be the devil's advocate, but what about, like, I want to know what you think about a car driving itself in the next 20 years and you getting in a car and pushing a button and it taking you to work. Is that something you think that is realistically a viable option?
We technically have that already, though. Do we not? Teslas do that. You get in the car, you start your car, and you say, I'm going here, and it drives you.
Through lights and everything?
That's the question. I don't know.
Makes left-hand turns at fucking lights?
We should have asked that Tesla driver that came by today, man.
Yeah, we should have actually asked that guy.
So
well, that was something I learned today, too. I didn't know that the plugs for an electric Honda are the same plug for a Tesla. I totally would have thought
that's actually smart design, I would have to say.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Standardized plug.
I didn't know that it is that way, but I didn't know that.
So even buddy in the Leaf, in the Nissan Leaf, or in the Toyota Prius could all come to our dealership and charge their cars up.
That's a whole separate conversation, the electric.
Who killed the electric car? Well, and then brought it back and killed it again.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, like I said, I think, at least for me, having this conversation with you guys, because I just thought about it a little bit at work, and I was like, I wonder what the guys think about this. Yeah, I feel like we're farther away than I thought we were.
It's interesting, though. Very interesting topic.
Mm-hmm. Even when you think about how far we've come. Like when you go look at a car from the year 2000 or 1980. And that's, 40 years is a long time ago, but it's not
1980, it was still carbureted.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Mine's fuel injected. But
or even, like...
Don't get me wrong, there were some,
But 2000, like what is a brand new car in 2000?
The Civic SIR.
Like if you would have told somebody in 2000 that the Civic in 2020
is going to have
is going to drive itself, basically, with like, obviously you have to explain what we mean when we say that in all these little features that when you add them all together, it kind of feels like the car is driving itself, and it's not.
You still need a steering input. You're not going to take a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn through a light
with
the car. It's more on the highway with
and even when you're
smooth curves or bends, there is times that it will force you to say steering input required, but majority of the time it will take that bend for you.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, boys.
Very.
We'll talk more in the future, I'm sure.
I'm surprised about that topic. That's nice.
That's cool. That's why I figured it works perfect for us three, especially doing the Formula One lookbacks and stuff. And we'll change it up this week. I went first, or this month. I guess we're doing these so far once a month. But
all right, I'll go next. So
topic number 2 for Will.
So I've been thinking lately about myself and my skill in video games. All right.
Okay.
So I've been thinking lately, specifically with shooters, my raw skill, because I don't practice in CS:GO or any game I play. I don't practice everything. I just hop on and play. I've been thinking because of my raw skill, I've been thinking about maybe at some point, I don't know what game, of trying to become a pro esports player.
Well, bro, come on. This is your topic?
So I'm bringing it up because I'm
happy.
No, it's not that I'm not happy. It's just,
just your
you got to keep your job for one, and you need a fuckload of time.
Yep, 100%. That's what I was gonna bring up and stuff. Is I wanted thoughts and opinions on this.
So can I tweak the topic? More like, what does it take to become an esports player, rather than what does it take to get Will
thoughts on esports
to becoming. I think we should generalize the conversation more
enough.
rather than specifically why you. I think what are the key assets that would help somebody become an esports player?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
I think one off the bat, like I said, is you need time. Like you need, and you said as much as you don't like to or want to, you'd be willing to, but you need to practice.
100%.
How old are you, Nick? Oh, Will?
I'm 22.
Go back 5 years and then start.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of esport players, drivers, shooters, whoever they are extremely young. They have a lot of time, and somehow their parents are willing and allowing them to spend this time on a PC or a console or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they do make it to the quote-unquote big leagues or a pro scene, and you have your parents sitting in a stadium with 10,000 other people maybe, and you're sitting on a main stage clicking heads, they're going to realize, what the fuck? Like, this is what my son actually, or daughter does.
He's in the grand finals for a tournament where he could win $2 million.
Exactly. And you know what? If you told people this, what was it, 15 let's say 15 years ago, people would be laughing at you that you're gonna be a pro gamer. Oh, you're gonna go play Halo professionally. Oh yeah, okay. How about you read a book, Phil? Sorry, that was just my parents talking to me.
There's a little bit of pent up frustration here in Phil's answer. Don't take it to heart, anyone.
It's funny. Sorry, just this aside though.
No,
it's funny how you mentioned esports. That was actually my second backup topic. That if I couldn't get my first one in, I was actually going to say, thoughts on your esports and what you think about it in its current time.
Well, good. This means you got lots to talk about because I can bounce off.
Well, you know me. I'm a gamer. I am
competitive.
And
you spend a decent amount of time watching esports. You know teams and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's more revolved around one game, which is Counter-Strike for me. But then again, there is times that I'll watch, some Rainbow Six, or whether it be other just random matches of other Call of Duty. Like, I didn't know there was a Toronto team for Call of Duty. Toronto Ultra, fucking big ups, boys. Giver. You know
that's
what I mean?
Sick. Yeah,
I didn't know that, and if I see them playing, I'll probably watch. I'll tune in and watch, see what these guys are. What are they capable of? What are they doing? But at the same time, it's like, to become a pro player, you can't think of it that I'm going to be a pro. It's more of the fact that I just want to play this game. I want to have fun, and then all of a sudden you're playing against the best of the best. So.
Yeah, I think he's right. I don't think it's one of those things that you're just going to be. Obviously, I know you don't think that way, but you don't just decide I'm going to put in the time and I'm going to be a pro. Because you got to give these guys, and I don't even know them as well as you guys would, but you got to give them the respect that they deserve in 100%. The sense that they're just like not athletically, but they're just like a pro athlete.
Yeah.
In the sense that they worked insanely hard to get there and working hard to stay there. And I don't know. Woody, I'll ask you, I guess.
Yeah.
What are the things that you think you need to do to start, if this is something that you would want to pursue, what are the things that you think you need to do to get yourself on that path?
Just to start getting to that level, right? Well, the first thing works, as we mentioned, time, and lots of time, and just constant dedication, putting in the hours. Like, for example, if I was looking at becoming a pro in CSGO, and you look at what the pros do on a day-to-day basis, it's 10 to 12 hours a day of just playing against the same people, reviewing matches, and
demo reviews and everything.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Is that something like, what kind of genre would you be wanting to get into? Like a shooter?
Me personally, I feel like my skills with a mouse would probably be best with a shooter. Whether it's CSGO, Overwatch, whatever. I wouldn't say personally. I don't know yet.
Where do you think not even just you specifically, this is, again, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between specifically you and generalizing this topic. Where do you think the easiest realistic place that you could enter is? And I mean that, like, if it was me, if it was Phil, if it was like, where is the quote unquote easier places to enter esports?
Any new game being released that actually has a decent competitive play to it.
So like when Overwatch was new.
Yes.
For example,
or like when Fortnite became new. If you hopped into Fortnite right off the bat, started learning your building skills, got good at aiming, you would be more likely right now being a quote-unquote pro.
If you committed all that time from then until now.
Oh, absolutely. But that, like you said, commitment to the game. You're not playing any other game. You're not focusing on any other game. Sure, you might, maybe I'll play this one over here, a little there. But it's like, if I'm playing this, I need to be focused. I need to be ready. I need to be mentally prepared for this. And it's, 14, 16-hour days of just grinding.
And that is another thing you have to think of, too. It is the actual game itself. Like we mentioned, 10 to 12 hours a day of just the pros scrimming and reviewing the footage of the game. If you're going to try and put the time in...
They're athletes. It's just like watching you go see a fucking Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, they're going to practice and they're reviewing footage of the other teams. I fully understand the seriousness involved in it. I don't want to sound like I'm being straight up, but like, it's serious shit. If that's something that you're thinking about maybe potentially possibly doing, you got to take it 100% serious.
But like I was saying about the game, though, like, if you're going to sit there and play that game 10 to 12 hours straight, you better like that game.
Well, that's the other half of it. Like he said to begin with, I don't think anybody who could be, or already is into esports went into it with the mindset, I'm doing this because I want to be pro.
Yeah. The
I don't think, at least. You might be able to speak on that better than me.
No, you're right, absolutely.
Well, I was just quoting you, but
there is some documentaries not documentaries, I guess, like mini documentaries of certain players here and there, like their kind of origin stories. And Neo from Poland, that was on Virtus Pro, he grew up playing video games with his dad.
Just
So his dad had computers. He let him play video games. And then all of a sudden, one of those games turned into Counter-Strike, the original Counter-Strike. Not
Wow.
Global Offensive.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was when it all started. He was 9 years old starting to play this game.
Shout out to my dad.
And
for
now
letting me
he's
play Grand
30
Theft Auto
plus
3 on his
and retired.
IBM. Sorry.
You know, a 30-year-old plus being retired from a gaming scene, like,
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's crazy.
That's
and now
insane.
all like is wow. He's come full circle.
Yeah. And
Now he's got to have a kid and start teaching his kid how to play
exactly,
CS:GO.
you know, and like our Canadian boy Shroud there, you know, Michael, he did the same thing. He was a big streamer. He used to stream a lot, and it was always Counter-Strike majority of the time. And guess what? Someone noticed him. Someone noticed his skill, and then he started going to LANs, and then he started showing that skill at LAN events, like local area network events, and to the point that he became one of the best aimers in Counter-Strike. And now, because he played so much, he got sick of the game to the point now he doesn't even turn the game on because he just doesn't want to play. There's nothing for him in that game.
That makes
and
sense.
It's almost upsetting, but at the same time, you look back and you see his greatest moments when he's clutching out 1v3s, 1v4s.
What does that
with a
mean?
pistol.
Explain a little bit.
Him
Just for
versus four
any
other
listener
guys.
that-
1v3, 1v4. You're
Clutching out is what
clutching. You're pretty much winning the round yourself.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah,
I just
sorry.
didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, gamers would understand, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's
we might
up,
have some. We
gamers?
might have some F1 people that
Yeah.
But yeah,
you
no.
know,
So
don't care or don't know
Pressing
about
a
games.
clutch pedal?
what do you mean clutch? Kick it. No, it's. I feel now if you were to try and go down that route as a professional, quote unquote gamer or esports player, you would have to be almost live streaming on a platform, either it be Mixer or Twitch, whatever it may be, live streaming and trying to show it that way, because there's going to be a day that your viewership will be it'll be 1, 2, maybe 3 people, but you never know, that one day might turn into 1, 2, 300 people.
Yeah.
And one of those people might have a link or a contact to an organization, and then that organization is going to get into contact with you.
Well, you never know. It takes one retweet for that to
Exactly.
be
Exactly.
seen by somebody who then cares more. And yeah, I don't want to tell you not to do it either. Like if that's something that you want to pursue, then assess it, make a plan, think about it logically, and go for it. But it's a interesting topic.
I've been thinking about it a lot lately, because like when I play something like CS or Siege or whatever, and there's been times, time and day out, not to like blow my own horn or like.
You've done well.
Yes, I've done well. There's been times where I'm playing with my friends who are like, dude, what the fuck was that?
You're cheating. You're fucking cheating. So yeah, I wish, man.
There's times like that. But when I look at the clip or the moment I did, and I compare it to what a pro did,
It's not that different.
I feel like it's not. So,
That's something you would need a trained eye,
A trained eye
to know the difference. I
Not only
couldn't
that,
help you
though,
there.
sure,
As far as knowing what's insanely skillful and what's not. Like he might show me both clips and I might not know the difference.
Like, yeah,
even if one is better than the other.
I could show you, like, for example, an amateur player doing a flick shot, like a one tap. So he's looking here, but all of a sudden an enemy pops over here
You've shown
to your
me that.
right, and he flicks and clicks, and he's dead. I could show you an amateur and a pro, and they would maybe look very similar, identical. But you got to think about the background behind that. You got to think about what game sense does he have? How did he know that this guy's going to be there? And there's also other things, pre-aiming. So if you watch like a lower end player, their crosshairs sometimes pointing down or pointing too high, or they're not looking into the right directions when they're moving. As for a pro, that shit's staying level the whole time. It's looking at
Always.
every corner. It knows the angles where they're going.
That's what I said to you the one time when we were. I don't know if it was. I think it was before we recorded the last roundtable.
Yeah.
And we were watching the live CS:GO event, and
The
I
last
was
premiere. Yeah.
and I was just like, the cursor is constantly checking the places where there would be a person.
Yeah. And
It's
those
never
are all
just-
common spots.
Yeah. I think. Well, two things. One, I think if you should start playing with Phil more, and
I fucking rage.
see
though.
how you do. And two, I want to get, this is a separate, more about the esports and pro, just esports in general. What do you think it is about esports that's so appealing to the masses? Do you think it's the fact that it has that, like, oh, well, I could do that maybe?
That definitely.
Like, do you think that's a
100%.
huge part of why it's so huge?
I agree.
100%. Just like compared to racing, because we race a lot, right?
It's almost the opposite.
Yeah,
Complete
like,
opposite of F1.
not yeah, but also in the sense that, like I've raced karts at a competitive level.
For sure.
So I can say when I see a guy who's like his father or parents are millionaires and they can spend $5,000 before a race to rebuild their engine. How am I with like just a middle class family?
Yep.
A parent's supposed to compete with that.
That's different, of course.
So like when you say like I buy a game for $60, he just bought the game for $60 too. Now it's on me to get to his skill level.
It is and it isn't, but he can also spend, thousands of dollars on an incredible PC that could help him get better. Mouses and all sorts of little things that would just help his
but that's a lot more inconsequential than what
a new engine in karting.
100%.
And when I said it was the opposite, I mean like those. I don't think anybody's watching it, and if you are, you're a fucking idiot. Watching a Formula One race, saying, "I think I could do that."
I could take that turn at 300.
Because I'm sorry, but you just couldn't. Like, not one, you probably don't have the balls to do it.
Two, you probably don't have a light enough foot to keep the car going straight.
There you go. So that's all I was saying, because the comparison of engines makes perfect sense. I was more just curious what you guys think, especially being two people that watch a lot more esports than I do, what the mass appeal of esports really is. And
there's also the fact of we grew up, like maybe not necessarily you, but a little bit, but like we grew up playing video games, right?
Yeah.
Even if
I grew up playing quite a bit of video games too.
Like even if like at the age of 8 or 9, that's what we grew up playing. And then all of a sudden we see this thing that we like to come home to every day, whether it's after school or after work, and there's people making millions, winning tournaments at it. Like that's awesome.
I could say that about doing this. This is what made me want to start doing this kind of stuff, was seeing successful people online. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would do this whether we have listenership or not. I enjoy doing this, but I can relate in that sort of.
That was exactly how I felt in beginning of high school, end of elementary school. It was going on forums, downloading a media file and watching it on my Windows Movie Media.
Oh, wow.
And watching a montage of Halo 2 people. And realizing, holy shit, I can snipe like that. Holy shit, I can get triple, I can get kill taculars. What the fuck? Let me do this. And that right there sparked it in me to say, yo, my buddy Anthony, my buddy Chris, let's go to Best Buy right now. Let's find a fucking capture card. Try and put this into my family house PC that was probably bought from friggin' Dell or something, which was garbage.
Yeah.
And let's record us. And they were all down when we did. Guess
Remember
what?
You told me you guys split on the
that
card.
Fucking failed so hard because we had no idea what we were getting into, to the point that I was so into it that I wanted to be montages or videos and putting it on YouTube back then. That's like,
and
this is talking like 17, 16 years ago.
Holy shit, yeah, because I was going to say, I was making wrestling YouTube videos in 2005. That's prior to that, for sure.
Yeah, YouTube back then there was no like homepage. It was like search what you wanted and you would find stuff.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I remember the first time.
There was no suggestions. It was
anybody ever, like, I had a friend, it was actually, go watch the XAW wrestling videos. He's in some of them. My buddy was like, yeah, have you ever heard of YouTube? I'm like, no, what's that? And he's like, it's just a site with videos. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then that was it. Here we go. Now it's fucking... Welcome to YouTube, everybody.
Hey, YouTube, what's going on? I wanted to do this years ago, but no big deal.
We're here now.
Yeah, and it's crazy how times have changed, and now it's like, I've tried streaming. I've tried to show my skill level on certain things on certain platforms, but it's just tough. Like I didn't have the dedication. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the commitment, to be honest. I felt like I was almost not wasting my time, but feeling like I wasn't getting the best of it. You know what I mean? When I was sitting there streaming and just seeing that zero beside my Twitch stream the whole time.
Back to, maybe to close this out, back to what you said at the beginning of this, and you have to enjoy it. Like, absolutely. You cannot go into this
absolutely
playing something or even doing whatever it is, trying to be in the conversation of the top and not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anybody. I'm sure there's guys now, like you said, the one guy you mentioned, it gets to that point where...
Yeah, just repetition, playing the same maps for years and years and years, and even now we get like the smallest map tweaks and people fucking lose their mind and they're like, oh my god, we fucking added
There's a box in the corner!
Yeah, we added a bench into the mid. Okay, so now I don't have to boost into that window? People can just jump in? Okay, so now this map changes how you fucking play it. So it's shit like that
changes
and that just to close it out is kind of one reason I do want to at least try doing it
for sure. And that's
is like I raced karts for 10 years. I love the competition and I love playing competitive modes, whether it's in CS:GO or at COD, and I like trying to be better than the enemy team or figure out what they're planning or stuff like that. And taking that to a higher level, I really do want to try that.
Do you have any interest in a sim racing? Like, is that, or is that not even in the question? I'm just curious.
I feel like my skills would be better suited to a shooter with how they are right now. But I wouldn't say sim racing is out of the question, but I do feel like that scene needs to grow a bit bigger than what it is for it to be worth any time sitting down and training to be at that level.
And you need a high-end rig at that point, too,
I mean, yes, and
load cell pedals.
it's up and down. I mean, I feel like it's grown a lot, even in the last 2 years.
It definitely has, especially with games like Gran Turismo Sport and that. But
and even like F1. The esports league that they run, like, that's pretty wild.
They're starting. It's starting great, but it still needs to grow a bit more. I feel like before you start getting with the prize pools of what CS:GO or Dota
of course.
has.
Or Dota, exactly.
Well, yeah, maybe that's maybe the best way to end this. What is the biggest, you would say, esports game? Is it Dota or League of Legends?
There's actually, I believe, Fortnite had like a really big fucking prize pool.
Oh, I always thought it was those two, the League of Legends.
League of Legends,
and
Dota are up there too on a continuous basis, but like Fortnite, I think had like the #1 highest ever payout for a single player.
I would love to know the average age of a Fortnite player.
10. No,
no, but probably 13, 14.
The kid that won the world championship was like 15, and he won like $8 million or something like that.
Stupid.
Holy shit. Imagine your hands when you're $8 million. I was thinking about joining ARC and being on like the 10th lap and like second place. I'd be fucking shitting myself.
Heart's beating. You're like,
I'm like that in an online race that doesn't mean fuck all. If I was in an online sim racing championship and it mattered, and if I make a mistake or a buddy runs into the back of me at this point and I brake too early, it's a lot going on in your head, let alone real racing. But
so now for me to close out on this topic,
yeah, I guess we all.
I'll just give you the pointers. If you actually are serious on doing this, then I'm going to suggest you to either go onto a third-party site. Do not play matchmaking on Counter-Strike Global Offensive because you will not get the proper full experience. You need 128 tick servers. You'll have a better tick rate on the servers. So you need to go to either FACEIT or ESEA. Sign up there, make a profile, and start queuing up. Stop playing matchmaking. I'm telling you right now, stop playing matchmaking and just queue FACEIT or ESEA. Pay the premium, the $5 a month, whatever it may be. Honestly, I would probably suggest you going over to FACEIT because ESEA isn't that good right now. But yeah, that's just a personal preference.
Good topic.
I'm done.
I like it. No, that was good. It was good. I was a little taken back at the beginning because it was so focused around you, but we found a way to make it.
I'm not
gonna
lie. When I got here, I was pretty down for it, and then I'm like, wait, what if Nick doesn't like it?
No, but it's not that I don't like it. It's just I think some of these topics, until we get more listenership, should be a little more generalized.
Fair enough.
Rather
That's fair
than
enough. Yeah.
specific to our needs. So that's why I like that we.
Yeah, so that goes out to anyone, really. If they wanted to start playing competitive and serious Counter-Strike, it would be start learning smoke grenades, start learning executes on sites, and go play on a third-party site.
And that's just Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
It's any esport.
You got to
any
learn.
esport or sport in general, you got to put the time in and dedicate yourself to it.
Start just watching good people play the game.
When you watch, you learn.
Yeah.
That's how I learned a lot of my smoke grenades or jumps or whatever it may be.
Good stuff. Topic number 3.
Rant. Oh, it's my turn now?
Well,
it's my turn?
End of rant. Yeah, but just make sure, let the people know what the topic is.
So, for today's roundtable,
Episode 70.
Bear Phil's over here's topic will be thoughts on Ancient Aliens.
Oh, wow, the TV series.
No. Okay, I only thought of that because of that. Actually, we've been watching it a lot. But
that's fair.
I'm talking about
the idea that Earth was visited by aliens in the past?
Bingo. Do you believe that it was possible, and or do you believe in that there will be another occurrence or encounter in some type of time?
You really get everything with this show today.
I know, a little bit of everything.
There's my topic. I've been waiting all fucking day to say that.
I don't know. It's you go, Will. I gotta think here for a second. I just wanna. When you said, "Do you believe?" Yes, I believe that they're out there. And you said, is it possible? 100%, 1,000% it's possible that they were here. Do I think they were? Different conversation.
Do you think they influenced humankind into changing the time? Like times that they were living in, like in ancient Egypt or in the Mayans area or whatever. Do you believe that these quote unquote gods that descended from a fireball in the sky influenced our culture, influenced our knowledge, influenced everything that we know as of today?
Well, I guess
let you go first.
I'll go first. And I guess I'll take a bit more of a quote unquote logical approach to it, in a sense that if they were here, if there was definitely some influence from them, there would be signs, right? There'd be some kind of leftover or some kind of foreign machinery or whatever from the sign saying that something was here. We don't know what, but there was evidence of something. And as far as I know, there isn't really any quote unquote evidence of that.
Explain to me the pyramids in the Mayans and in Egypt and around North America. Continue. For me, that I feel like that's almost evidence. That
Really?
was some type of
Okay.
other technology, though.
Give me on a scale of 1 to like a percentage, basically. What percentage of you thinks that they were here helping? That something from another place other than Earth was here helping Earthlings, Egyptians, build things?
I don't want to circle it around Egyptians, though, but yes.
That's why I said Earthlings first.
Earthlings,
more
yeah.
specifically, the Egyptians and the pyramids.
I'm going to say 100% that we were encountered and,
Really?
and taught.
Really? 100%.
After watching and reading and
100.
seeing so much facts, I'm surprised on how our history books are not being rewritten right now.
Yeah, see, I don't
There's
need...
so much classified information. There's so many military fucking areas that are no-fly zones, but even a military jet can't fly through it. Why?
Well,
Why
I
is there a
can't- I-
hole
I
in
can't
Antarctica?
I
Why is there a cave? Why is there a cave going underneath the ice sheet of Antarctica, bro?
This is
Oh
hilarious.
my!
Are you familiar with Eddie Bravo? Do you know who that is? No? Anyway,
Isn't it a cartoon?
no, that's,
that's
Johnny,
Johnny
Bravo.
Bravo.
Oh, right.
No, he's a guy that's on Rogan's podcast all the time who sounds like you right now.
Oh shit! I gotta listen to those ones.
Very
God.
what's he likes?
Passionate.
He likes conspiracy theories quite a bit.
I guess it's a conspiracy in some sense, yes, but at the same time,
For me, when you said, and this is to each his own, I find it tough that you're able to say 100% that you believe that.
I believe there's other people that would say also 100%.
Oh, of course, there's
Commander
other-
yeah.
Favar.
Yeah, that's true too, but because I don't believe that.
The other pilot.
If you had to give me a choice, I think, and I've listened to enough of this in my day. Go check out Graham Hancock
Mhm.
and his work and the books that he's written about the ancient civilizations in the Mayan and the Egyptian, and how he believes, and this is more along the lines of what I believe, that there was an ancient civilization of humans that may have known things that we didn't know because they just did things a different way. They didn't develop spoken word maybe the way we did. They didn't develop written because it was a different history, a different beginning of time, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And that race, or that species, whatever you want to refer to them as, was wiped away by some sort of global cataclysm that happened 11,000, I think he says, between 11,800 years ago and 12,700, something along those lines. And basically, the people that were left over, the ones who may or may not have survived this global cataclysm, were the ones who were then teaching the new species of humans, aka us, more or less, the beginnings of our time, some of the things of their past and the quote-unquote old world that they lived in. I believe that to be more likely, but that doesn't take away from anything of me believing or not believing in aliens. I 100% believe that they're out there and they may or may not have or are here now. Who knows?
Yeah.
I just think as far as that kind of stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's all kinds of shows. There's all kinds of evidence. Who knows what's real, what isn't, what is not. We don't know. It's speculation. That's what these kind of shows
I just
are
feel like
about.
with all the information that I've noticed, it's a lot of it like ties in together. You can be in India and you can have the same type of goddess that the Mayans are talking about. So it's like, how do
they have the same
know
connection?
that? You know what I mean? And
Well,
how is it that
maybe-
there's statues of Asians and you know, Aboriginals and Africans when they were on a separate continent? How do you
maybe
know
these
that?
people, like maybe, again, this is all speculation
Oh,
for anyone
absolutely.
listening. Maybe these people that I was speaking of, the original humans, let's call them, traveled around the globe teaching their ways to all the different people around the globe.
So how do they fly around the globe?
Who said they flew?
Who said they flew?
How did they get around
I feel
the globe?
like I saw there's a quote from
I'm just saying-
there's a quote from someone out there that I think kind of relates to this topic in a sense that when you look back and you see cave paintings that the cavemen made, right?
Yeah.
So you always think about the cave paintings, but then they always ask the question, what about the paintings that weren't in the caves?
What do you mean? Like just on?
Like there's paintings in caves because they're preserved, they're in a cave, right?
Yeah.
But that's probably not the only place they would have done paintings or whatever, right?
Of course.
They would have been outside or carved into a tree or something
Or
like
cut
that.
rocks out of
Yeah.
cut shapes and like they did with the pyramids and the Mayan temples and Göbekli Tepe and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
There
Like,
would have
it's-
been other stuff out there that would have over time faded away. So it's the idea of there's some stuff that's preserved, but some of that stuff it's going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that might be just to kind of explain the pyramids or whatever, Stonehenge or whatever, right?
There's so many out there, though. That's the thing.
There is, but I also feel like it's kind of like almost in I don't know necessarily human is the right word, person or whatever nature.
Yeah.
To have something that kind of lasts longer than we do, right?
Oh, of course.
When we build big statues like the CN Tower, the Eiffel Tower, whatever, those are going to be here for the next, I don't know how many hundred years, whatever
But
happens.
that's the
right?
crazy thing is the CN Tower will crumble before those pyramids crumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy is when you think about the
it's not-
longevity
if-
of
if-
those pyramids.
If we were to leave or something happens, it gets, whatever. Due to some kind of outside factor, if it's not maintained by us now, it would.
Yeah.
So, but those pyramids, I feel like it's the same kind of thought where we want to build something that's memorable, people will remember us by for future generations, and they built that. And over time, to say that they haven't been looked at or whatever, because we know how big of a tourist trap the pyramids are in Egypt and stuff,
I would love
right?
to go there.
Yeah.
Plus one.
Yeah.
So there's people there, like, not necessarily
LookBack's planning their trip.
not necessarily maintaining
Live
the
from
pyramids,
Cairo.
but kind of looking after them to make sure they stay there and nothing happens to them, right?
Of course, my big thing with the pyramids too is if you told me to write down on a piece of paper whether I think the Egyptians built the pyramids, I would put no. But that doesn't mean I think aliens built it. I think those Egyptians found those fucking pyramids and they were already 1,000 years old when they found them. Because there is all kinds of water erosion around the inside of the pyramids, and there was no water there when the Egyptians were living there. So it's a very open topic as far as like different places to go for it.
That's the thing. They were saying the pyramids were they're not actually a tomb for burial. They were actually used as a power source.
But then there's also things where they say that they were used like an original version of a telescope. Because when you were inside and you'd look up through these lines, it would show you a specific set of stars at a specific time of the year. And it's almost like we got to think back then they didn't have telescopes. So it's like, where can we go get a nice view of the stars? Well, let's build these pyramids that have these skylights where it's dark inside so you don't have light pollution and we can see perfectly the stars that we want to see. How did they get them to line up that way? Whether it was extraterrestrial or these beings that I'm talking about that who's to say, and I don't want to sound like a crazy guy, but we got Phil talking some wild shit. So
Wild shit today.
I'm open to say anything. Who's to say that these beings didn't have supernatural powers that we as our humans who talk about all the time that we only tap into 20% of our brain?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Who's to say we don't have these abilities that we are yet to figure out and probably at this point won't figure out because we've chosen to go down more of a technological, science-based living rather than a more from our society, rather than more of a spiritual-based, who knows what for all I know, they use telepathy. Can't even speak. Yeah, telepathy.
No, wait, that's something else.
To do that.
I'll take the opposite. You think it was some kind of ancient civilization. You think it was aliens. I will say, if it's just speaking of the pyramids specifically, that it was the Egyptians. I'll take a different point of view here, and I'll say, it was the Egyptians. They wanted to build a monument to be remembered by future generations.
Yeah.
Whether how intricate or whatever it is, I can't say, but it's something that we start talking about it now. So if that is the case, it definitely works.
It's still there, yeah. But that's like I said, we're singling out the pyramids in Egypt. There is other pyramids around the world. They've even discovered a pyramid in Antarctica. That's what I'm trying to say. How is there a pyramid in Antarctica? It's not just a land forming. It's a legit pyramid. It has perfect base and everything. They've shown it. But it's just
It's very open to interpretation, I think.
absolutely. And I
It's-
feel like I take every bit of interpretation and I just expand on it to the point that it makes me sucks it in.
You just have to, and I love it. I've been there too. Like I have the I Want to Believe X-Files poster, like the poster from Mulder's office. Like
There you
I'm
go.
fully with you. I got a book that I could pull out somewhere down here. I don't know where it is at the moment. UFOs caught on film, and it's an actual book, ladies and gentlemen, not a app. And
Not an audible.
no, and I just mean it's a physical thing. I was fully, and it's not that I'm not now, or just I was in the alien thing. I just think you have to look at all of it open, widescape.
No, absolutely.
You need to take in all the information from every side and kind of come up with, similar to us three, giving you 3 different opinions of what we may or may not think happened.
Oh, absolutely.
If only people looked at politics that way.
Yeah.
And on that note, if anybody else wants to talk about the
No,
Egyptians, I don't
I
want to
could
talk
go-
about politics.
I could go on for hours about aliens and how I've seen this shit, but it's just something else, man. It's honestly, we'll just have to let it go. Go for another show, a pre-show, I think, with Donovan.
Either way, like Will said, I think you're going to get a little bit of everything on this show, whether it's cars, esports, or the pyramids. But I figure in the meantime, before we get going with the full-on 2020 season and the F1 update, let's bring it back. It's time for the F1 update. Any longtime roundtable listeners will remember that sound. We'll just talk a little bit about Formula One here. There's not too much pro wrestling news that we want to get into this week, but we got to talk about these liveries a little bit. I want to talk about the F1 liveries and the looks of the new cars, whether they're different at all or not, but go.
AlphaTauri, best hands down.
Is
my
it Tori
opinion.
or Tari?
Tauri.
Is it Tauri?
That's what we keep
It's
seeing in the
Tauri.
video, yeah.
Alpha Tauri.
AlphaTauri.
Alpha Tauri.
I don't know.
In my mind, that's number 1 with the black and white. It just looks super clean.
Yep. It's, honestly, I believe the same thing. It's something to do. It's just the fact that it's just a white car with a nice, easy black, simple livery on the back, and then that red Honda on the side that just pops. Is just
Oh, you like that, eh?
yeah. It's like I would have
Not
never, I
biased
would
at
have
all?
never noticed it if you mentioned it to me.
Not biased at all.
No, but like even like Red Bull though, like what the fuck? The meme is Control V, Control C. Like fuck off.
But-
I'm not doing that.
No, that's I seen Red Bull or I seen Mercedes or somebody write like comment to somebody else who wrote that. And no, it's not that easy. Like, they wrote back to
Oh,
them. They're like,
yeah.
because I think this year we talked about it at work. Most of the guys, most of the teams are keeping the same liveries. They didn't really change much. You had Force India.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
ooh.
Racing Point fucking dropped the Sport Pisa, and now BWT is their title sponsor. I don't think there was many other major change. Haas obviously dropped the Rich Energy, and they're back to their colors. Williams added the red. But yeah, number 1 for you guys is Alpha.
I would say
guess so, yeah.
I'm not sure who I would go as my favorite. I think
You're going to say Mercedes.
no. I mean, okay. One thing I will say about the Mercedes is I like that they kept the same sort of look with the fading of silver to black with the Mercedes stars, but I love that they made them a lot bigger.
Isn't it kind of like similar to what they did with the Germany Grand Prix livery?
No,
What-
Germany.
It's
Grand
literally
Prix is-
they have the exact same livery that they had last year, except for
Okay.
the stars are just bigger.
They have
Okay.
their wing is different too. There's like more.
Yeah,
on the front
there's
wing.
black and then teal and then silver.
And then the Ineos.
yeah,
the-
and the red Ineos, what is that? A printer or some sort of?
I have
I have
no
Enos.
clue.
No, probably not a printer because they've already got Epson. I think is one of their sponsors. But
Enos. It's a fax machine.
is it? I don't know.
You Google it.
Some generic.
No, I'm
company.
not even looking. I like the Mercedes stars, how they're bigger. You can kind of actually see them from the cameras now. It's not just doesn't look like a bunch of dots on the back of the car. And the Nicky star is obviously amazing.
Yeah.
Ferrari's probably least for me.
Yeah.
Like just the potential there. Like, where's the fucking Italian flag? I missed the big Italian flag on the back of fucking the 2013, 2012.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to that? 2010, 11, whatever it was. I remember playing the video game, and the back of the car was the Italian flag. I'm like, this is amazing. This is incredible. And there's a
You
little.
get that on Giovinazzi's. Don't worry.
Yeah. But, speaking of him, he said he's going to be the guy he thinks to replace Vettel.
Well, Vettel was sick today, and he didn't do his testing.
I know. I saw that. He was
He
taking
was
pictures
not
with fans,
well.
though. So give him credit.
Not well.
You're not a fan, or what? You're giving him the beans here.
What do you mean? You have a chance to drive a fucking F1 car. Get your ass in that shit, bro.
He's sick, man. He doesn't want to put
He's
the
a
thing.
four-time
I don't
world
care.
champion.
I don't care how sick you are. You better be puking on camera for me not to get in that car.
Like Mark Webber.
Let's-
throw up in his helmet.
Oh fuck. Let's hope that maybe he thought like, I don't want to damage the car. I don't want to put somebody else's safety at risk here.
Yeah.
Let's just.
I don't want to spin out. Right.
Either that or he's like, I got this.
I
Let the
will-
kid go.
I will say I do like the new testing regulations for this year, actually using the practice time that they're allotted, because I think they have one less a day or something for it this year.
Yeah, it's only 6 total days of testing. I think it works out to be 3 days each for the drivers. And yeah, I popped it on today on my lunch break on the F1 TV app, and it showed 4 hours. Like it was a 4 hours, even in the top corner of the session, like it is for practice. It shows 4 hours, and it's like, oh wow, cool. So they get lots of time to do stuff. I guess I don't know if favorite. I like McLaren changed it up a little bit. I think I still like the 2019 one better.
That's simple. It's a simple change that they did.
Yeah. I said this last time on the show, and I didn't mean it that way. Like, our boys, 3 legs, 4 wheels, don't know them. Huge fans of the podcast. Just wanted to make that clear. They were talking about, and at least Lee was talking about how they left a big open spot on the back of that car, and it looks like it's just waiting for a title sponsor.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even think about it, but then when I saw it, I was like, whoa, yeah, I definitely should have realized that.
On the Ferrari?
No, on the McLaren.
Oh,
if you
McLaren.
look at the back of it, it's all little logos, and it's like they're waiting for that big, whether it's going to be a better tomorrow, but I like we talked about, I don't know if that's an issue with the cigarette sponsors and the Mission Win Now stuff. So
I wish a lot more teams, when they create their special testing livery, would just use that as their livery. Like the all black Renault that they're using in testing,
Yeah.
super
Or the
clean.
snakeskin Alpha, bro.
Yeah, the
the
snakeskin alpha.
snakeskin
or
alpha they
the,
couldn't use because of the heart, because it had a heart for Valentine's
All right, we'll
Day.
change that shit up, bro.
Fair enough. I just
Keep the snakeskin, though. That looks sick.
no, it did look sick, and
Or
I
the,
don't like the black Renault though. I
You
like
don't?
that nose. I like that fucking nose.
I
I
think
can
the
tell you
black
that
Renault
much.
is
Have
just
you seen the
simple.
car camo Red Bull that they used a couple years back?
No. Like helmet cam? What do you mean?
No, like the camo when
Oh,
when
yes, sorry,
manufacturers
camo.
are testing their cars.
I've seen a couple of them.
That was super clean. I wish they used that. Why do they always have the best testing liveries? I get they have sponsor obligations and stuff, but they're so good.
I'm just showing Phil because I don't think Phil has ever seen that before. So yeah, they used this in testing 2 years ago, and that was their livery. And then same with this last year. But just anybody, I don't know, go look up Red Bull test livery, and then I think they used that one a few years back. But it's just for testing. I don't know why. It's similar. They were talking about, again, not our
So
boys.
you can't see
but
the
our
body lines and shit like that.
Exactly, like when they're testing a Type R at a Honda Type R Civic at the Nordschleife, and
Yep.
they want to
Yep.
hide some of the bodywork. The one thing I gotta say, man, is I hope the car does well. And from everything that I've heard, they didn't develop the 2019 car at all because they were spending all their time in the 2020 car. But that's Williams, and I just, as soon as I saw that car, I was like, why does this remind me of a clown? Like, that was my first thought when I saw that car, was just like, and like this it was just the combination of the shade of blue, the white face, and the red. Like, I was like, those are clown colors. And nobody else has kind of said this. I haven't heard it anywhere, and I specifically didn't say it to you at work or anywhere else because I was like, I want to talk about this on the show. But I like that it's like last year's car. Not only was it the worst car in years, but the livery was pretty shit. It
Yeah.
was white with some like blue highlighter around the edges.
Yeah,
So
to keep it cheap.
I'll
Gradient tool.
I'll give them credit for doing something different. And I guess they dropped the whole martini thing 2 years ago, so they can't use that iconic livery anymore either. But I don't know, not my favorite. And then the Haas one, I found that it looked, and they said, again, I'm bringing it up 3 times in a couple minutes, but they said it on 3 legs that they thought the Williams looked like a generic Project Cars, here's your F1 car in the game. I feel like the Haas looks like that. Like, I seen the Haas coming at me in one of the videos, and I'm like, that looks like a fake F1 car. Like, that looks like if I went to Walmart and bought a toy car that just says
Hot Wheels.
Formula One, that's the livery that would be on it. Is that Haas, just black, white, and red. Keep it simple. I don't know. Not my favorite either, but it's, I think, like we talked about, I don't know if it was on air or before, but way better than the gold one that they had 2 years ago.
I don't
Or
mind
last
the
year.
Haas one though. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, it's not that I think
it suits like an American style. That's what I feel.
It definitely does. It looks
then
more
the-
like an Indy car. Maybe that's
the-
why I'm thinking that.
The Williams is crest paste. toothpaste. That's the meme.
That's what I heard. That was the one I heard.
Red, white, and blue.
I thought clown when I first saw it, but then I heard somebody say, yeah, it looks like a toothpaste box. And I was like, yeah, it does look a lot like a toothpaste
Colgate?
box.
What was it? Scope or something? I don't
No,
remember.
probably Colgate
Yeah,
or
I think
Crest.
it was Crest.
One or the other, but
Title sponsor. There you go, Williams. You got it.
that would be a good title sponsor. Why is there no toothpaste in F1? I wonder. Did anybody see I almost said it again, Racing Point? Did anyone see their launch and like the wicked backdrop that they did with it? It was incredible. I saw this today, again, listening to it on another show, and I went and checked it out, and it was insane. It's like this car sitting in front of this beautiful lake, in front of this huge, look at this,
Jesus.
in front of these mountains, an incredible sunset in the background. Like, I hope that's real.
That's like a sports car picture.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So as far as like pictures of the new cars, like I think,
That's wallpaper worthy.
yeah, exactly, right?
I just feel like it's killing me without those 18s, man.
The 18-inch rims.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what happened there. We were talking about that today at work, Will. Do you know
I don't.
they scrapped that, or what's up with that?
I hope not.
Or
Maybe
is
they
that
might
later into the season?
No, there's no way they'd be switching it halfway through the year.
I hope they're just saving it for 2021.
That must be
Maybe.
what they decided. Because I don't,
Fuck, I was looking forward to the 18-inch.
I can't see them switching halfway through the year. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just wanted to talk about them a little bit, just kind of favorite liveries and get some F1 talk. If there's anything else, I mean, we have testing this week. First day of testing was today.
I will
as of
say
recording this.
the one thing that will mess me up all the time watching the races is on the side when it lists all the names, the colors for the Williams and the AlphaTauris are flipped this year. So the Williams are now blue and the AlphaTauris are white when it was reversed between the Toro Rosso
Is
and
it a light blue or a dark blue?
light blue.
Oh, okay.
It's like the
So-
same color they used to use for the Red Bull, the Toro Rosso.
Toro
It's just
Rosso.
they flipped them.
Yeah, that I don't like at all. That, and did you see the picture of all the drivers? I feel like it's weird that half the grid is wearing white suits.
Yeah.
It's-
Williams, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, and Mercedes.
And Mercedes. And it's just like, I think Mercedes at one point were the only team wearing an all white suit. I don't quote me on that, but no, McLaren had them a few years ago because they had the look up the 2016 McLaren team kit, and it like my suit for karting has more sponsors. Like, it's insane. It has like, I don't know. We'll look at it later. Like Esso and Honda.
I mean, if you want to look at lack of sponsors, the 2009 Braun,
oh, literally none.
they had Virgin. That's it.
They had, yeah, but here's the other thing that I found out listening to Jensen Button's book, which, for anybody who went back and watched our Formula One look-back shows, I found out, small fun fact, Jensen Button, the winner of the first Grand Prix we looked back at, the Canadian 2011 Grand Prix, his first ever Grand Prix that he attended as a young lad, the 1993 European Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me this.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Those are the two shows that we looked back at, and he was technically at both of them. Not that we're massive Jensen fans, but I listened to his book, and he did a great job. What was I talking about in the first place? Why did I bring up Jensen and his
White
book?
suits?
White
No
suits.
sponsors?
No sponsors on the Braun. Apparently, at the time when Virgin had that little logo, because it wasn't the title sponsor by
yeah.
any means, apparently, what's his name? Richard Branson. He was acting like he had given the team all the money in the world and given them the best, like, oh, well, I'm sponsoring your, and it was like, he was giving them like $1 million or something. Like, it was nothing substantial,
Well, that covers our front wing.
but he was acting like, you know, in the paddock.
Like
and
a
in,
title sponsor.
Exactly. And it was just, you're not the title sponsor. So, but yeah, you want to talk about teams with no sponsors. I think that one, and then Ricky Bobby sponsored by himself are the two that I always think of as far as me.
I will say that Braun car did look pretty damn good, though.
Oh, buddy, I've been going back and
White
watching.
lime green, yeah.
He has Jensen's got a new team, actually. He just started, I don't know, kind of fill some air here and I'll pull it up. But it's the same colors. I don't know. Here, one second.
I know Chevrolet used the same kind of colors back in 2013 for their World Touring Car effort. The white and like the highlighter yellow.
Highlighter yellow, green, yeah.
Yeah,
So sick,
just a super clean color scheme. That
Yeah,
Is
so
that DTM then?
yeah.
any of the listeners can't
Super GT.
see this, but look up Jensen
it's
Button
GT3.
Racing Team. I believe that's an NXX,
That
no?
is an
Yeah.
NSX, my
Done
friend.
up to be all nice in the Braun colors.
So he's racing for Honda still then?
I think
Still
so,
fucks with Honda.
but
Attaboy.
he said something in an interview that I listened to that wasn't an NSX, but clearly this is an NSX, so good on him. But yeah, look at that beautiful Braun, 2009, gorgeous. But yeah, I don't know. I guess
Hell of a story too. That Braun car.
Oh, that's going to be a movie one day.
Oh.
The only thing that bugged me about his book, I got to be honest, was he made a comment, like, and I love the book. I would recommend to anybody. I'm working on the second one now. I listened to the first one last week. I'm making my way to the second one now. But I totally forgot what I was going to say.
The only thing you didn't like about the book.
Oh, him. Jesus, I totally lost my train of thought, boys. It's okay. I don't know.
You lost it.
Yeah. Never mind.
That's for next episode.
Next episode.
Are you going to come up to me
To be
tomorrow and go,
continued.
I remember.
This is how stupid I am, guys. Clearly. But
He's gonna hit.
I am stupid.
I don't have that button.
What? I thought you did. I swear.
I think Erickson hit us.
That's the closest one I have.
He's gonna hit stop recording. He's like, God damn it, I remember.
No, I just remember just now. It was basically the fact that Jensen made it out like he didn't have very much money. But then in the same chapter talks about his dad owning a couple car dealerships.
Oh.
And I was just like, okay, fair. I mean, you don't have Nicholas Latifi, you don't have Lance Stroll, your dad doesn't own Longos and fucking Tommy Hilfiger. But let's be serious here. You can afford some carts and shit. It's not like you're breaking the bank to buy a go-kart when your dad owns a couple dealerships.
Yeah.
That's all. And don't get me wrong, his dad and his career, main reason he stopped racing F1 was because his dad passed away. And he just felt like, you know what, I don't mind racing, but I can't do this F1 thing without my dad. And I didn't know the whole story of how his dad passed away and all that stuff. So I'll let anybody who wants to know find out in the book. But that was the one thing that I couldn't remember there a second ago, was just the fact that he kind of made it out like he didn't come from money. When you look at somebody like Lewis Hamilton, who actually didn't come from money and was unloading this piece of shit go-kart out of the back of their fucking hatchback and destroying all the other kids on track. It's, you know, when you
It's the same with Ayrton Senna. His dad was loaded.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that, I mean, Senna's, and don't get me wrong.
Fantastic driver, but.
Same with Jensen.
Yeah.
Nicky Lauda, his dad was loaded too.
Yeah, no, and I don't even have a problem if you're loaded and you make it into racing. It was more the loaded fact that he said, I didn't come from money. But then also...
My dad has...
It wasn't that big of a deal.
Exactly, right? But yeah, anything else from you guys as far as the Formula 1 stuff goes?
No, I think that pretty much about covers it.
Can we get the season started already?
Well, testing has started, so...
Bring back the V12s.
Oh,
No, yes,
don't
scroll
do
for
that. I have that.
Back the fucking V12s.
He sounds so depressed saying that.
Well,
Bring back the fucking V12.
Wouldn't you be depressed?
Yeah, pretty much. But I wouldn't be
like
saying the
V8s,
V12s.
man. I like the V8.
V8s are great too. I think he just said that because it just sounds better. to say
Bring back
12.
the blown diffuser.
But it's been a good one. Hey, like what Will said, you're gonna get a little bit of fucking everything on this show. So anybody who listens to the Look Back shows and comes in for the roundtables here, we appreciate it. But episode 70, another good one.
Yeah.
If you don't already, guys, go give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter. Like I said at the beginning of the show, same stuff at the LookBack Show, TheLookBackShow@gmail.com, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, everywhere. Go get it. Anywhere you listen to a podcast, it's there. If you're watching the video, we thank you over on YouTube. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Salsa, SCELSA.
I'm on Twitter at LaterelG, LATERELG.
On Twitter at Honda Tech Phil or Instagram Philly_FK7, and drop a like and subscribe on that video.
Yeah, there you go. Hit the
Forgot
bell.
that.
That's a thing too, right?
Double click the bell.
I always hear people saying hit the bell. So, yeah, hit up Teespring if you want to get yourself a shirt, a mug. Hey, I can show it off actually because we're on video. It's just a pro wrestling one, but we've got all kinds on the store. Go check them out. That's pretty much it, guys. Hit up the sponsor, Hemp Labs CBD, no THC in the product. They make sure of that. Lab tested, great product, bath bombs, creams, oils, incredible stuff. Check them out at hemp_labs_Canada on Instagram. They'll find the stuff that's best for you. Start feeling better today. We thank you for joining us at the LookBack Podcast for episode 70 of The Roundtable. I'm Nick.
I'm Will.
And I'm Phil. Don't open your hood to strangers.
And stay classy.